So let's go. Welcome everyone. And thank you for being here with us today on our webinar, The State of Capital Markets in the Middle East, What's Next? We are very happy to have here with us today, Les Mail. He is the CEO of DGCX. Hello, Les.
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and thank you for inviting me and hosting the webinar, Judith.
You're welcome. We are very excited to have you here today. Sharing with us today is a very special day for us because we are we're rebranding and we are launching our new website. So we are very happy to share this special moment with DGCX, a very special partner for BSO. We have been working with DGCX for a number of years now, as you all know. We were one of the first ones to reach DGCX exchange and to provide DGCX market data around the world. So as you know, we can connect from DGCX to a number of other exchanges around the world, in London, in Chicago, Mumbai, Singapore, and well, this relationship with DGCX has always brought us a lot of success and good stories. So we are very happy today to share this very important moment for us. And let's start with the discussion. Before we start the discussion, I want to tell all the attendees that you can ask some questions if you want in the chat box. And when we get into the Q&A session, you can Les will be able to reply to them. Okay, so let's get into it. Les, there is a lot to speak about. So let's start with how the signing of the Abraham Accords. How will it reshape the financial system and capital markets industry in the region?
Thanks, Judith. It's a great question to start with. You know, the Abraham Accords, I think, were signed September last year, and I'm sure that all your viewers and listeners will have been more than familiar with that announcement and the implications. To be living and working in the Middle East when that deal was brokered and announced was groundbreaking. I took the first ever flight from Dubai to Tel Aviv with my chairman in October, November time last year. And by way of an example of how much of a breakthrough that was, as I say, working here at my desk in Dubai, I couldn't make a phone call to Israel. The website of the Israeli regulator, I couldn't access any Israel domain websites. So to move from that quite restrictive nature to where we are today in a freely open and transparent marketplace, I think is groundbreaking, as I say. And I think we as an industry, financial services industry, you know, globally and the infrastructure providers and what the BSO are doing, to move at the speed of which we have done to enable that to happen is wonderful, and it was exciting to live through that time.
Yeah,
I've been to Tel Aviv a few times before, and I remember being in Tel Aviv 2017, and it was the CME who were presenting at the time, and they made a comment that for all of the CME group of exchanges, whether that be CBOT or NYMEX, etc., Israel was number 2 globally, behind the US, for sheer trade flow. And that is the size of the market that is the potential for DGCX group, and indeed for the BSO to connect those parties to. The kind of firms that we will see coming through from Israel will value and recognize the benefits that the BSO can give them in terms of latency. And as I say, we moved quickly along with our partners. Once we could access the website, we were able to apply to the Israeli Securities Authority, the ISA. Our permit was granted in April, and I think we put a press release out at the beginning of May this year for qualified corporations to onboard directly for prop business only out of Israel. And indeed, I'll be in Tel Aviv in, I think, a couple of weeks' time for a series of back-to-back meetings. But as I say, that kind of groundbreaking global move to open up Israel and the Middle East with many countries signing the Abraham Accords was was revolutionary, and we're pleased whatever small part we can take to make that a success.
Good. And we are very happy to share that with you and to be able to provide the connectivity to all these prop trading firms connecting to DGCX from Israel. So, and anywhere else in the world. We are global. So, so we know that Forex is a hot item for DGCX with its US dollar futures contracts. What can we expect in the Forex market in the region in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we've, as you say, we are predominantly an FX and equities marketplace. We also offer metals and hydrocarbons in our asset class across the group, the DGCX group, because we have a wholly owned regulated clearinghouse, DCCC, as well. In the FX space, we've already launched a currency pair that is not available on any regulated exchange in the world, and that's the Pakistani rupee, the dollar Pak rupee. That was launched, I think, in mid-April. We've had record days in terms of volume just recently. We're about to go through our second expiry on the monthlies as well. So that is bedding in and is growing in the manner that we would expect, gathering interest. The Pak rupee, to be on a regulated exchange, is important in this region. Pakistani nationals are the second biggest in the UAE, and to provide the classic type of risk management and hedging tools from the exchange like the DGCX and DCCC to the business community is something that you know, we consider kind of our day-to-day bread and butter job, but for that marketplace is again, I'm using that groundbreaking term, but it's certainly innovative and it's much appreciated in terms of the Pak rupee. In the FX space, we also have again innovative contracts. These FX rolling daily contracts. Now I call them daily futures. The team criticise me, but that's probably because I'm old school. But these are daily FX rolling contracts that have a perpetual motion in terms of their delivery, in terms of the next rolling day. We already have 3 contracts. We've got regulatory approval for a further 22 more contracts. We will push those out in a phased manner. We have to do a small tweak to the product spec, and then we'll reset that. But linking back to our first question there, one of the contracts, and I hope this will be in the first phase of contracts that we deliver, will be the shekel, the Israeli shekel against the dollar. So again, this is sort of trying to demonstrate that we are very much leading the way in the Middle East. We're the largest derivatives exchange in the Middle East, but we're offering contracts that we think will be of value and appreciated by the industry, and having a rolling momentum to what we're doing in Israel. You know, when we had our permit from the ISA, we put out a press release in 3 languages.
I remember that.
That's not unusual. 3 languages, English and Arabic being 2 of them, of course, but Hebrew being the 3rd one, and that was the first time we'd ever done that. So it's this rolling momentum of yes, visits and hand-holding and relationship management that we're doing with our Israeli friends and colleagues, and delivering contracts that are very much tailored and specific to that market is something that we like to be known for.
Perfect. Good. So I was going to ask you for new products emerging from DGCX and other regional exchanges, but you have already answered that question, so I move into the next one. This is more to do with technology. What is DGCX doing to enable emerging technologies, and in particular facilitating low latency trading on the exchange? I know you have something important to tell us.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously a question that's very much tailored at your marketplace and your audience. And we are working very hard following the largest contract in the history of DGCX, which we signed in the summer last year with our new fintech partner, that is NASDAQ. And we will be moving to NASDAQ's core systems during the second half of next year, 2022. as I say, although that seems a long way away, here we are, and it's June next week. So the year is disappearing, and the guys are very much hard at work. The NASDAQ core systems will be for trading, for clearing, for markets surveillance, for risk, etc. And this is the new NASDAQ financial framework that they're putting in place, which is a very modular build. And within that is the MME, their multi-matching engine. And this will for sure have lower network latency as we move to cutting edge. And that modular build gives us a lot of optionality in terms of how we deliver our strategy going forward, offering services for clearing or for other exchange provision to other countries, both in the Middle East and also in Africa.
Perfect. This is great news. You're getting into this new this new game. I think it's going to bring you lots of benefits and lots of success. And as I said, we will be here to help you and to support you with that. Crypto is another hot topic right now. So the buzzword at the moment is crypto, trading, and digital assets. Mm-hmm. Can we expect institutional traders in the region to adopt crypto and digital asset trading?
Well, how long have you got? So just to reveal any kind of self-preservation, I actually personally used to own Bitcoin. I sold them last year. I bought it as a way of trying to understand and sort of learning and self-training, if you like, the type of movement and terminology. Yes, I was able to make from a very small piece of money, an even small piece of money. So I don't hold Bitcoin at the moment. And all through last year, I was answering that question in two ways. First of all, I'd love to launch crypto, but I can't because there's no regulatory framework in place. And hey, anyway, secondly, there's nobody, queuing outside my door, banging on the wood, demanding that we launch crypto. There just wasn't the market demand for it. Two things have changed, not least me selling Bitcoin, but two things have changed. We are now starting to see some pent-up demand in the region, and that changed quite dramatically at the turn of the year. It is coming up in conversations. People are wanting us to list the currencies, whether that be Bitcoin, Ethereum, but crypto asset currencies. And indeed, there is now the beginning of the regulatory envelope in place that would allow us to offer this. Those are the two prerequisites that I need. Any exchange can launch hundreds of products and throw them against the wall and hope one or two of them stick. I don't have that luxury. I would much rather offer selective and tailored products to the marketplace, like PKR, like the Israeli shekel, like our 12.5 kilo gold contract that were launched earlier on this year as well. These are, member-led and required contracts. So when it comes to crypto, and indeed I was just attending a conference this morning about this, it's hot on the news of my shareholder, DMCC, putting in place a cryptocurrency crypto center in Dubai. It's an ecosystem. I think that's the best way of describing it, but it's a melting pot in partnership with a Swiss firm called CV Labs that will allow and foster that entrepreneurial spirit that comes with blockchain and DLT and crypto assets. So hot on the back of that, there is this window for the DGCX group to offer crypto futures. And let's just be very careful here that when we talk about the type of contracts that we could offer, we're not necessarily talking about offering trading in Bitcoin or trading in Ethereum, whatever it might be. We're offering the possibility to trade the price of Bitcoin or the price of Ethereum. And people may want to do that for speculative purposes, but also for risk management purposes, whatever it might be. So this would be very much a financially settled contract. The central bank are due to make a decree, a ruling in the next month or two. And indeed, as I say, I've had meetings this morning with different federal authorities, from the regulator, from the police, to make sure that we have the necessary and secure framework in place that can enable this to happen. Because we would be offering this in a regulated environment, fully traded, fully cleared, etc. We believe there's a demand for that, utilizing the banking and settlement services that we have through our clearinghouse. And as I say, I think the region has appetite for that, and that's one that we are in a place through the infrastructure with our partner BSO that will be enabled to deliver.
Perfect. While you were talking, we had one of the attendees, Safar Alam, who asked the question, and he said, have you considered allowed trading in cryptocurrencies in DGCX? So you have already replied to that question. And then when you were talking about the ecosystem, he mentioned it. He said the question is very relevant considering that the MCC is creating and encouraging ecosystem for blockchain and crypto. So it was funny to hear you talking while he was adding all these notes. So thank you, Safar Alam. I think we are on the right path. It looks like we are on the right path, and but always following the regulatory.
Yeah, I mean, and that's no criticism that we're waiting for the regulatory structure to be put in place. Innovation always precedes regulation, and I operate in a highly regulated environment, and that is for the good of the market. You know, we sometimes forget about that. That's there for the security and the safety of the marketplace, and we play, you know, just a bit part in that to deliver that service. You know, I haven't touched on blockchain there and the DLT. I think that that actually will perhaps be more of a stickier sense of infrastructure that we can deliver to the marketplace. I am in talks with a firm that may be able to offer something with another federal project that we're working on. And what I quite like about that particular project, although I can't say an awful lot about it at the moment, is that it isn't replacing something. This is something that will be very much a step change. It's not displacing technology that's already embedded. This is very much a disruptive technology that would allow tracking and traceability of the underlying asset. So we're cautiously excited about that, because that would be a wonderful thing to be able to offer. And Dubai and the UAE are, you know, one of the few places in the world that is really progressive in this area. So the distributed ledger technology is something that once we've got the market matching engine and then the vehicle of NASDAQ integrated into our systems, the blockchain methodology is something that we're very keen to offer to our marketplace. That's
great. That's great. So the future is looking good with new markets, new products, new technology. And I repeat again, BSO will be next to you, following you in these new adventures. But what do you see after that? After all this Israel, new technology, new products? Anything in mind?
Well, after we've done that in the morning, we'll have the afternoon to do something as well. But yeah, thanks, Judith. We've got a lot to do, and we're very busy. But you know, I mentioned about the optionality and modular build of the NASDAQ financial framework. That will allow us to work with other partner exchanges. And what I'm particularly keen to do is to work in the MENA region with exchanges and exchange solutions for other countries. We've deliberately built the DGCX and DCCC in a manner that is able to offer services to other emerging exchanges, whether that be equity exchanges that are looking to move down the curve in order to offer derivatives, single stock futures, for instance, derivatives kind of products. They will need a clearinghouse to tap into. We are able to offer that, and again, a very secure and regulated environment. We were having several talks with different government bodies across Africa in that respect. and likewise other governments that we're talking to in Africa who are looking to us to provide expertise and leadership in terms of how they would implement gold exchange for their core assets in Africa. And I think Africa is sometimes a bit of a forgotten continent when it comes to the secondary market trading. We're ideally positioned in Dubai very much as a hub, with the Asian markets opening through the Middle East and into Europe and US. We're open 17 hours a day, and we cover, through that kind of trading hub location here in Dubai, we cover that time window. And with the historical trade routes between Dubai and African countries, we'd like to sort of build on that with some financial services solutions. So yes, we've got some products in the FX and maybe, let's hope, inshallah, the crypto space. But after that, yes, I want to develop a kind of legacy in terms of the DGCX footprint and how we can partner with those emerging countries who are looking to exchanges like the DGCX in order to provide solutions to their own individual marketplaces. That's
perfect. That's a great project, and let's. I think we are done right now with all the questions. Let's see if there is any questions in the chat box. Safar Alam is asking again. He's saying that DGCX has been doing a super job by bringing relevant products for this part of the world. And he's asking about volumes, how we can increase volumes and the cost of execution. What are your thoughts on volumes?
Yeah, and I mean, thank you very much for the question, Safar. And we live and breathe the ADV, but with the greatest respect, I think that I would also look to open interest, not just to the daily ADV numbers. Any trader will want to see how they can get out of the position as well as to get into position. OI, in some respects, I think OI is a better indication of liquidity than day-to-day volume, which is just churn for sort of daily stats sake. And when it comes to OI, the DGCX leads the world in terms of rupee in the offshore space. So that's something that I would point to. I think in addition to volume and OI, I would also talk about what he's mentioning about the cost of execution, the cost of trading would be the cost of data. This is something that we're actually recruiting currently for a data specialist. But I think areas with the BSO that we can offer to the marketplace, yes, in Israel, but also beyond as well, will bring down that total cost of round trip. And yes, you could look at the headline transaction rate from exchange to exchange for the different underlying contracts. But I think, and I encourage all participants to look at not the secondary level of costs. I don't mean that at all, but in terms of the benefits that particular headline transaction rate give in terms of lower latency or in terms of OI, some of those areas that aren't immediately apparent, but will actually much greater benefit the trader experience.
Exactly. So let's see if there is any other questions. Is your time, guys, now? If you want to make a question to Les, he's here for you. So ask anything you want. We don't have the chance to have the CEO of DGCX answering to our questions in person like this every day.
Sure. I'm just looking at my notes to see if there's anything else that I'd like to sort of to provide. Maybe one question to the group is what particular, and Safar has asked this already, but what particular crypto asset classes would they like us to offer? As I say, I've been at the conference this morning, and Bitcoin and Ethereum seem to be the two that are standing out. We're working very hard. The guys are working very hard in order to develop those product specs and those references. But yeah, if anyone wants to either get to Judith or myself as to what type of crypto asset they're looking at, whether that be for the currencies to begin with. And I think my personal view is that crypto is a currency, it's not a commodity, just because of its origins, if you like. Yeah, we're very keen to hear what the market wants us to deliver in terms of that space.
Safar maybe wants to answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Well, I don't know if anyone wants to ask any other questions. Well, if we don't have any questions, I think we can. I have one question for you, Les. Well, as you know, BSO has been providing connectivity, hosting services, and cloud connectivity to a number of prop trading firms in Israel and outside of Israel. And we have relationships with Israeli prop trading firms, Dubai prop trading firms, Indian, Singapore, and well, all around the world. But I wanted to ask you what type of traders are allowed to trade on the DGCX platform from Israel? Is it a particular type of traders, or is it only props? It is. Tell me.
No, that's a good question, and my regulatory and compliance director will probably be listening in with a glass to the wall if I didn't get this answer right. But it's quite particular what we can offer on the terms of our permit, and the permit is the right word. It's a license as we would understand it, and this is definitely for qualified corporations for proprietary business.
Okay.
Now, for me, that would mean trade members. But those are the words that we would look in order to onboard, and obviously they would need the necessary approvals at their end as well to trade in overseas markets. As I say, I've got a visit scheduled to Tel Aviv coming up in a couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing as many of the community as I can there. But yeah, qualified corporations for prop business is the exact terminology.
Okay, and they will have to become a member of the DGCX, or they could trade through?
No, they can become a client. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Great. So we have a lot to work on, DGCX and BSO, to support all these prop trading firms. Yeah.
Well, that's a question. That's a question to you then, Judith, if I may just turn the tables a little bit. How quickly are you able to implement the infrastructure that you guys have got in terms of delivering low latency solutions if we had that client and trade member business coming out of Tel Aviv? So
we already have the connectivity available. The cables are there. The connectivity is already ready for use. We just need the first customer to get connected, and we turn it on. It's just it's done and ready for you guys. So
it's as simple as that in the IT world. It's just a flip of a switch. Yeah.
Yes. Well, as you know, like BSO, we run a global network, and the way I like to describe it is we run our engineers run a big mechano set around the world where they connect different cables, and they are all day having fun and enjoying with their mechano set and connecting from one place to another. So the connection is there, the line is there. They just need to click, and it's done. And they start playing with their mechano from Israel to Dubai, and the traders start trading, and it's great for all of us.
Very good. Well, let's make that happen, Judith. We'll make that happen.
Yes. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. As I said before, BSO has launched a new website today. We have just unveiled it a couple of hours ago, and a new brand. So we rebranded our company to adapt more to what we are today and what we are becoming in the future. And we are very happy to have this launch in the same day as our webinar with DGCX, because as I said, DGCX is very special for BSO. We've been working with them for a number of years now. And I said before, we were one of the first ones, but I think we were the first one to provide layer 2 point-to-point connectivity to DGCX. So yeah. Oh, we have a question. Okay, so Ulrich Nogel, how is your approach to the importance of providing market data? What is your philosophy and technology there?
Well, I'll let you answer about technology, Judith, but in terms of philosophy, that's an interesting word to use. I think in the exchange business globally, market data can be a bit of a sensitive subject in terms of the underlying fees, and it links back to a question that we had on volumes and transaction rates earlier. But you know, there's to have that trader experience, I think one has to look at the full picture. And I think our data fees, you'll find, are some of the cheapest in the marketplace. That doesn't necessarily mean there's upside for me, but I say that as a way in terms of a competitive spirit, but also in terms of access. We are looking to see how we can increase sales for sure, and that's why we're taking on a specialist in that area. But that isn't through just putting up fees, which would be a lazy and simple way of doing it. It's by selling the data, you know, more widely. Surely the expression that, you know, we've all come across is about sticky eyeballs, and one way in which those eyeballs can become stickier in the marketplace and actually have a value add is through market data provision. So I want to make it as widely available and as successfully and publicly available as we can through the various infrastructure partners, and obviously on a real-time and a historic basis. Okay, perfect. Well, as you know, BSO has been providing DGCX market data into London, into Mumbai, and into any other location. I'm currently working with a customer that wants it in Italy. So, you know, it's something that we can do. We provide the connectivity, but in the case of DGCX, our partnership allows us to provide also the market data around the world. And we've been doing that, I think, for 8 or 10 years now. So I think everyone knows about it, but just in case if you don't, you can be in touch with either DGCX or with us. I think we are going to get the contact details for the BSO and the DGCX team before we finish. So here you are. So thanks a lot, everyone, for being here today. Thanks a lot, Les. It's been it's always a pleasure to do something with DGCX. So today again. And to get in touch, you can go to info@dgcx.ae. And if you want to learn more about BSO connectivity solutions and hosting solutions, you can go to hello@bso.co, or you can contact Les or me through LinkedIn. Then I'm sure that we will be able to give you to bring you to the right person in the team. Thanks a lot, everyone, for being here today, and especially Les. Bye. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you.
Goodbye now. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.